Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where in today's video, I'm going to take you through my top tutor tips to help you pass your upcoming ACCA SBL examination for the March 2025 sitting for the charity Historic Places. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. If you'd like my exclusive notes, I'm going to take you through in this video, as you can see above me. Just click the link in the description of this video and you can download a copy yourself. I'm also delighted to say that I'm associated and affiliated with Astranti. You can also find their links down below to their pre-SEAM packs, mock examinations, which I'll mention in today's video. And for pure transparency, as always on the channel, if you were to purchase any of their fantastic packages down there, which are designed based on the charity sector we'll talk about today, they could be the difference in helping you to pass, and I am entitled to a small commission which goes to supporting the YouTube channel. So as always, a massive thank you for all your support. I'm so pleased the videos help, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I will definitely get back to you. But we're getting straight into it now, because my top tip, number one, is a deep understanding of the pre-SEAM notes and how we're going to apply that scenario in the exam to the requirements that you are set. That was quite a bit long-winded, but you get the gist of it. Now, if you've got the exam tomorrow, I'm just going to take you through the nuts and bolts of you have to know this on there. So if you come on to page 2 that you can see on the screen now, there are factors on the right-hand side highlighted you just need to know because they'd be great for you to apply in the exam. We have the Charity Supervisory Board, the CSB, and that is where it's all about the regulation, and it's established by ACCA's central government. ACCA is the country which historic places are actually based and where they operate, and they preserve historical sites. That's what historical places actually do on there. But the Charity Supervisory Board, anything that comes up in terms of regulation, control, authority, something to do with maybe a government factor, maybe in a pestle model, that is what you should be looking to apply. The next one you can see highlighted in blue on the right hand side is that we have the content of the charity's accounts is governed by a statement of recommended practice, also as you can see just down as SORP, and this is published by that Charity Supervisory Board. Now, why is this important? Well, you'll see in the next sentence it says CSB requires all charity accounts to be audited. Larger charities whose annual income exceeds $10 million need to report on internal controls and risk management systems on there, with the report being reviewed by the charity's external auditors. In the case of historical places, their income exceeds $10 million. You can see that if you go down to my notes on page 10-11, it's in the graphs at the bottom. Their income you can see on there is into, give or take, just over 800 million. So it's to give you size and perspective of the charity itself. And when you're making your answers, just have a picture in your head that you can see on the right hand side now, where we talk about the employees and the volunteers. 4,000 employees in this charity, 20,000 volunteers. It is not a small gig. It is a huge operation that they're having to actually put into place, and that's where you can link it into the two-tier board system that you need to be aware of on there. But those are the first two key terms on page 2. The next one is on the left-hand side on page 3, and that is all about living the past, LTP. Again, based in ACCA. These are the two largest heritage charities. One of them is Historic Places, which the pre-SEAM materials are based on. But the key thing where students are going to make a mistake is that Historic Places looks after sites and objects over 300 years old, whereas Living the Past mainly cares for sites which are less than 300 years old. That's really important as to, we've got costs involved on here, and again, we'll go down to the graphs at the bottom. The operating expenses are increasing, and as well, that is the only time in the pre-SEAM notes they've named another charity on there. So LTP, definitely get down in your notes, and you can see on my notes on the screen, possible joint venture, maybe they might merge together. I mean, what happens if you've got an object that's just below 300 years and then getting into over 300 years? What happens there? So again, little things to get down. And lastly, in terms of understanding the pre-SEAM notes, that when you go through mine, it will save you a bucket load of time. Look on the left-hand side for the models and the theories. So I've got ones on the side there, porters, we've got the SAF model. If you come down to the bottom, I've got SWOT, PESTLE on there, the 3 E's, 6 capitals of integrated reporting, Porter's 5 forces. What I'm getting at there is you have to take the theories, take the models and apply it to the scenario, which you can see on the screen, whether it's the risk management, risk register systems. We've got Mendelow's matrix that could come up, the Tara model. Check the other videos out on the channel where I go into these in a bit more detail. But that is my tip number 1, deep understanding of the pre-seed notes, and then also application to the scenario, applying your SBL knowledge. Tip number 2 now is the exam time management and exam technique. In your exam, you've got 3 hours and 15 minutes, 80 technical marks, 20 professional skills marks, and you should be going at about 1.8 minutes per mark, giving you 10-15 minutes of leeway for a bit of reading, going through the exhibits on there. So I'd put down 1.8 minutes per mark. Some students like to do 1.5 minutes, 1.6, to give themselves more of a buffer to actually look at the exhibits in a bit more detail on there. Completely up to you, but the main thing for your notes to get down is complete 100 marks. Do not do 85, 90. The external examiner says in their reports, students who do that, who don't complete the 100 marks, are basically likely not to pass. There's a 50% pass rate in this exam, and therefore following these tips, answering 100 marks, making sure you've got your time management down to a T, doing mock papers to time, under exam conditions, that is going to be the difference in getting you that pass on there. Speaking of mock papers, that is where Astranti, as I said, linked below, they've designed specific mock papers based on historic places. Now, why is that important for this video? Coming up to the top, you'll see on the right-hand side in the introduction, this is the first charity examined by the SBL team. So when you're going through past papers on the practice platform, they're all based on companies, PLCs, and when you're going through it, you're thinking, I'm answering it, but is it going to relate to something that could come up in my exam? So again, check those out. They've got specific solutions, and you can also get specific feedback on that as well. In terms of exam technique, the last bit for your notes is there are the most frequently used verbs in the requirements, and the ones you need to get down are evaluate, discuss, and recommend. Key things on there: when it says recommend, you have to advise on the appropriate action. You have to say, based on the scenario, based on the exhibit you've told me to look at, this is what should be recommended. Evaluate and discuss has some overlap. So discuss is all about weighing up the pros and cons of what you've been asked to talk about. On the other flip side, though, you've got evaluate, which is giving arguments for and against, but the difference being leaving a conclusion as to, based on your professional judgment, what should you be doing on there. And when you're actually going through these styles of questions, evaluate and discuss, don't just put your answer in one big list on there, one big page. If it's an 8-mark question, 4 paragraphs with a gap in between, and so the marker has to say, look at James's first paragraph, probably 3 sentences, maximum 4. If it's an 8-mark question, can I give him 2 marks for that paragraph? Has he identified something from the scenario? Has he explained it if it's a for and against? And then linked it back to the exhibit. That is the exam technique that you need to be applying. So that is tip number 2, exam time management and technique. Tip number 3 now, coming on to it, which are the ACCA professional skills marks. As I touched on before, you've got 20 of these in the exam. Do not overlook them. I've got them on my notes on the left-hand side. Analysis, commercial acumen, communication, evaluation, and professional skepticism on there. The key ones for your notes are commercial acumen and skepticism are the ones the external examiner continually tells us that students do not do effectively. Commercial acumen is all about applying the scenario and the actual situation that we find historic places in. So talking about the charity sector, how it operates, how it generates its income and expenses. That is what is going to pick you up on the marks. And referring to the charity as historic places and the specific areas, like I touched on with the regulation areas, the CSB or the SORP, that is what they're looking for, not saying it or they. It's being specific in your answers. If you are generic, you're not going to get the marks. Skepticism, on the other hand, is all about challenging the requirement, challenging the exhibits, what you're given on the exam day, and challenging what you're actually given in terms of the requirement and what you're asked for. So you could pose a question to the marker and actually say to it, well, this doesn't look right. They should do more investigating. Should we put some more information? Do we need to request more information, for example? That is skepticism put into practice with the likes of analysis, communication, evaluation. We've touched on those with those key verbs, but just laying it out effectively. Use headings for, say, these are all my 4 answers, these are my against on there. And lastly on there, the communication, make sure it's written effectively. And maybe if English isn't your first language, it doesn't really matter about spelling mistakes too much. It's all about how you actually lay out your answers in a professional manner. So that is my tip number 3, to not overlook those 20 marks for the professional skills. And last but by no means least, tip number 4 quickly is the ACCA CBE platform. Getting really savvy with when you're going through, especially some of the areas like the stakeholders and their roles on here, the areas that you've got to be really, really careful on, which will really help you to practice on the CBE platform, is the likes of the governance area and also the KPIs, because there's a lot of details in there about the number of trustees, how long they've been appointed for, and you can copy and paste and directly quote it in your answer. Now, obviously, you're not going to get marks for deliberately copy and pasting over, but you can refer to it and it's much quicker than you thinking, oh, what was it? Type it out, go back again, type it back out again. So those are little things. Get good at the CBE platform and it's going to save you a bucket load of time on the exam day. With the last thing about the CBE platform and putting it into practice, if you are resitting the SBL exam, I would highly recommend you check out the technical articles, the external examiners reports, the great nuggets of information in there, why students have failed in the past and how you can get better to achieve that 50 plus moving forward. So that is my tip number 4, ACCA CBE platform, along with the technical articles which I'd use, where maybe if you've seen some of the theories in my notes or maybe ethics on there and you're thinking, how do I understand that in a bit more detail? Check out the technical article. It's definitely going to help you out on there. Woo, we got there. Those are my 4 key top tutor tips to help you to pass your ACCA SBL exam for historic places in the March 2025 sitting. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe, give it a massive like, and check out those mock papers, Astranti packs, and if you'd like to download my notes to save you the hassle, the link is also down in the description. So thank you very much. Stay on for the next video in the series. I'll link it up above, and best of luck.